Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the SafeSpace podcast. I'm your host, Vijay Hari, and today we have a very special guest joining us. Sexual harassment at the workplace is a significant concern in many organizations, and it's crucial that both HR professionals and leaders play a proactive role in preventing and addressing it. Today, we will explore how HR and leaders can work together to create a safe and respectful work environment. Yeah. Joining us is Arsha Manuel, a strategic HR leader at Celestica with 16 plus years of HR experience, driving results across talent acquisition, policy implementation, and employee engagement. Led and coached a high performing recruitment team, implemented efficient HR process, and managed vendor relationships for cost effective benefits. She has spearheaded employee activities and L&D initiatives, empowered managers through talent reviews, and championed D&I initiatives. She also possesses legal expertise, resolves employee queries, and navigates complex situations effectively. Lovely. Welcome to our show, Harsha. Very happy to have you here with us.
Same here, Vijay. I'm absolutely thrilled and I'm so thankful. This is a topic of the discussion as on today. And I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for giving me an opportunity. And I'm thrilled to, look at what we can discuss, the insights that we can share, and a lot more that we can learn and implement going forward. And this is more about growing for me. Thank you.
Lovely. So, before we going deep into our topic, let's start with your journey. Can you share us a bit about your journey on the HR space and what made you create the safe work culture? You've done a lot of initiatives around that. So, if you can throw some light on that, Tasha.
Absolutely. So rightly pointed out by you, Viji, I do my journey of HR, right, spans over 16 years. And during which course, right, I had the opportunity to work from different types of organizations, start from a startup and then with a KPO and a larger organizations. And I must say, these are the experience, right, which has shaped my understanding. And when I mean it has shaped, where it already given me enough of opportunity to learn from what does it mean to operate in a safe and a respectful work environment and a culture. And this set of experiences in each of these organizations really guided me in terms of when I joined Celestica. These are the understandings that I had, that one, to create a safe and respectful environment, I need to set this right from the beginning. And Celestica being one of the good opportunities for me, it was a new entry into India market, so I had a very good opportunity to set things right from the start, right? So I believe everything which is set right from the start, I guess it works wonders. Right from you truly fostering what is the safe work culture, and what are the guidelines that be followed, and what are the consequences. All these which are put black and white. And I think everybody who comes into the system, I think they get to know what are the things which is to be do's and don'ts, and they follow that. And I believe personally, everybody deserves, irrespective of women or male or other genders, everybody deserves a safe workspace, because that's the least expectations, right? As a human being, we deserve a safe and respectful workplace. And to create that environment is what the HRs are there for, and HRs play a wonderful role there, in bridging these particular gaps. As much as we are the policymakers and the implementers, we drive these changes. And I think that's exactly what I feel, when I look at my career as a HR and why I foster such workplace. I truly believe this is the true nature of HR, when it comes to creating that environment of safety, where some things are not negotiable at all. And this is what it is. Safe workplace respects are not, non-negotiable. And we wanted to set things right from the start. And also, all our, the first thing that I did, when I started with policy and process, set things first, on posh, get things right on posh, implement set the IC committee, and ensure that the policy is gender neutral, and not just covering the women employee, but we want to be gender neutral in all the aspects, feeling inclusive. We wanted to protect every single gender out there, and that's being proactive. I feel setting the expectations early, and making the environment more transparent, open, and more trusting. I think this is what it is, to consider fostering a work culture for me.
Brilliant. Brilliant, Arsha. I think, and as you rightly said, HR play the crucial gap, the bridging of between the employees and the organization. They play the crucial role of bridging the gap. So that's one of the reasons why I chose this particular topic, role of HR in preventing sexual harassment. Something very, very close to my heart. And what I have seen is that HR partners who are spread across different locations, they are the first point of contact for employees. And a lot of times, employees look upon them to reach out for any concerns or grievances. And hence, the role of the HR partners in different locations is very, very crucial. And sometimes, what I've seen is the organization is not train them enough or empower them enough on what their powers are. And this particular podcast is specifically for that. And let's deep dive. And I have split this podcast into three different sections. The first section, we will go with different scenarios, three scenarios and two minutes on the scenarios, followed by the Q&A round on some of the best practices at Celestica. And last section of quick rapid fire round is what we are planning to do. Yeah. So let's deep dive into our talk. Yeah. Okay. The first scenario for you, Arsha. Imagine an employee reports a severe harassment as a partner to you, as a HR partner to you. But the employee does not want the perpetrator or the alleged harasser to be punished. They're very clear. No, I don't want that person. I want to bring it to your notice, but I don't want him or her to be punished. How will you, as HR, proceed on such situation?
Yeah, it's a very tricky one. um, but at the same time, I would look at couple of things. As much as it's crucial for us to ensure the reporting employee, right, the reporting employee of course have to be protected. I need to ensure that the reporting employee, I also respect the wish. But then when I look at a person who's going to bridge the gap as a policy maker and implementer, I also would like to look at the larger picture, right? So here HR has to have diverse hats to be to be worn, because it's about the implications, right? Because of course, severe it's a case of a severe harassment, and one doesn't want to ensure that this doesn't go punished, but at the same time not to expose and embarrass the person at least. But there are a lot of ways that HR can do explore, because they have to do the investigation, of course. And also at the larger picture, when I look at it, my sole goal is to make sure this specific instance do not affect the others in the future, right? So I really would be looking at making sure the workplace is definitely safe. So I do not want the actions to be repeated, so I will definitely ensure that we have actions such as setting up a investigation to ensure such behaviors. If it is severe, when it is quote unquote, we need to ensure that the others are protected. Even if the employee who is coming up to us seeking doesn't want the alleged harasser to be punished, there could be a number of reasons. It could be a fear, or it could be a retaliation, or it could be a power play at work. But I think HR should act, and that is the sole responsibility. I would say HRs are accountable, because when they are in the organization, their responsibility and accountability plays a major role. They have to really act. It's not just about the complaint, the person who brought the complaint, but at the same time, I would look at how to protect others. There are certain steps I need to take, to protect the other employees at play. If I am silent at this point, then I am making way for another harassment, to happen. And that time the other employee may not come to me, right? So I had a chance to correct it, but I did not correct it. So I would, as much as I want to respect the employee's wish, I would definitely lead an investigation to find. I want to definitely address this to the IC committee, and IC committee should take it forward as quickly as possible, and they should lead an investigation and try to fix it as early as possible.
Lovely, lovely. So safeguard the employee as well as safeguard the culture of the organization. Brilliantly said.
Yeah,
Moving on to the
exactly.
second scenario. Okay, so this scenario is something that's very, very common in a lot of organizations that I've seen. A senior leader who's very close to the management has been ogling and staring at women employees and has been also using inappropriate language and words at the workplace. The HR business partners are bystanders to this. They have themselves witnessed this. Okay. But they are worried because this person is a very senior leader and is very close to the management. How should HR partners proceed in this situation as a witness and a bystander?
That's a very, very good question, because typically what we are seeing, in today's scenario, where a lot of these cases are happening in different industries put together, right? Whenever there is a senior leader at, is at the other end, we always see the power dynamics at play, the power play, right? This is exactly what is, the root cause, where a lot of these issues, a lot of these harassment can take place, and are happening at this point. Definitely HRBPs cannot be a bystander, without acting on it, right? They have to act immediately, and they have to do it decisively, because um, if they happen to witness such events, right, in my opinion, I would definitely go to IC committee, report this activity irrespective of who the power dynamics is at play, because IC committee has taken an oath to ensure that irrespective of all these power dynamics, they are trained in such a way they need to handle it. So they would be in a position to, document the behavior, confront the behavior. And if it is a senior leader, of course, we can privately investigate, and also with the IZ's help, they can formally start the investigation process. I would definitely say, if HRBPs are, at the bystander position, then this bystander inaction can definitely lead to a very toxic environment. And this is exactly the problem with a lot of employees leaving the organization. We wouldn't definitely know what is the, root cause of them leaving the organization. It could definitely be one of the cases, right? Women employees are, and others who are also witnessing these, they also see that we are not the guardians, we are just, we are powerless, right? So they
Right,
get to tend to think that, we do not have any authority or accountability, and these are something which kills the culture very much. And as to enforce these, I would definitely see HRBPs have to act as a guardian, irrespective of, which rank or which party they are dealing with. Harassment is harassment. That's not negotiable, right? So even that's the role of the HR, to go against the power dynamics and question them and reach the appropriate channel. The appropriate channel is through the IC, and they have to act fast. And I really want to ensure that, this is something I believe most of the industries are missing out. And we are seeing a lot of cases which is coming up right now. But if the HRBP or the HR, irrespective of, which function of HR it is, they have to act as a guardian, because they are the policy, they are the gate, they are the gatekeepers, right? So they need to ensure that the company values are protected, the employee values are protected, and they are, somebody who can make a full stop to all of this.
well said, well said. I think definitely HR partners are the custodians of the organization culture. So if they're not reporting, employees are going to lose trust in the HR. They're not going to report any incidents at all. And also, what
Absolutely.
we have noticed as being part of IC external member, a lot of organizations with such cases come in, we have issued strong warnings for the HR who have not taken action. If we later come to know that HR was aware, so I think it's very important that HRs play a very crucial role in being custodians. Wonderful. Moving on to
Yep.
the last scenario. A complaint is reported to the HR business partner, and it has instances of both workplace harassments as well as sexual harassment between the same complainant and the respondent. How should the HR partner handle the situation?
Yeah. Um, okay, so there are two things, right, which we see the HRBP is right now to be, handling this with. But we are at the same time, I'm looking at two separate issues here. One is the sexual harassment itself, another one, a workplace harassment. Typically, in both these scenarios, in when I look at the Celestica perspective, we are trained on these two aspects separately. The company has a global guidance where there are mandatory trainings which is happening for both the sexual harassment separately as well as the workplace harassment separately. So each of it has got its nuances of how to deal with such cases. But HR should separate these two because HR can handle only certain harassment cases which is within their purview, and other the sexual harassment cases have to be redirected to the IC committee because they are set up for a reason and it has to go through them, right? Because of the company has an internal grievance procedure that we do handle. How do we handle the workplace harassment and the procedure to handle it and the disciplinary course of action and the consequences to it has to be handled separately. At the same time, how fast you can act to these complaints, right? That matters because as you try to prolong it, then the law always, we always see that this is keeping on dragging, but at the same time the person whoever complains and others who are looking at it and witnessing, they always feel that there is no immediate action taken as such. So these two happen, has to happen simultaneously through separate process, but at the same time it has to be confidential and transparent. At the same time the complaint feels that they are supported throughout, because if the environment is not supportive, the person will not approach. And if they can approach with two different complaints, then I'm thinking that the environment is more transparent and it is trusted. So which is why the complaint feels safe to bring the complaint in the first place. So at the time, the HR should act really fast, is and then immediately ensure that both the procedures, right, according to the policy set in place for workplace harassment and for sexual harassment, accordingly, those consequences will take place, those investigation will take place, and at the same time, this is what is creating. Everybody observes these things, and they feel that the future scenarios or future cases can be brought in, and they are really feeling it that safe to bring such cases to open.
Lovely. Wonderful. So I think what you're saying is act, but act immediately, with maintain confidentiality and transparency. Wonderful
Right.
point. And definitely, I think in such cases, what we typically recommend is have one HR partner as part of the internal committee for the POSH committee as well, right? So what happens in such case? So that one particular HR partner can be part of both the workplace investigation as well as sexual harassment. So there is an overlap. It's not happening in two parallel directions because sometimes these are all interlocked. One is related to the other, right? So having the HR partner also part of the internal committee has helped in such cases. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Moving on to the question and answer round. What are some common challenges HRs and leaders are facing currently in addressing such harassment instances? And what can they do to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? See, some of the common challenges I always see, right? It's that we tend to create a lot of effort and time into ensuring that the culture of respect and safety is deeply ingrained. Because most of them come from different organizations. Some are from the campus. Some come from various experiences. How do they all integrate together and work together? All right. So the challenge is to ensure that there is a sense of the culture that they are facing with Celestica is respectful and it is safe. And this somewhere it has to be deeply ingrained in them, which is why we have policy in place. We ensure that there are training in place. We constantly, keep educating them, so they feel that they are safe. So I feel, the challenge itself is they do not, sometimes they do not feel that. But to create that particular, have it deeply ingrained into every individual, right, that there is safety and security and respect, that itself would be, if employee feel that, these are some areas which is covered, I feel they are become more comfortable in coming forward. Another other times, right, it's retaliation on, always, as we mentioned in the scenarios, right, the power play at play. They feel, oh, what if I, come and say what happens to my career? Will I be sidelined? Will I be called indifferent? Will I be looked upon as differently? Those kind of, what do you call, um, these are some things, which is in their mind, because we personally have to ensure that there are sessions which is given to them to coach and let them know these are some of the scenarios which are they can expect, some thoughts which comes into their mind, and both IC committee and the HR play a vital role in all of these to, educate them. And you know see, another thing is obvious shame. If something happens, it like you said, right, even the ogling, it need not be the physical harassment itself, it could be the ogling, inappropriate looks, comments. These are some things, they do not, they need to differentiate all of this. And that, and the shame, that comes along. Or what if, I go there, will it limit my career move? Will I be called a troublemaker? you know am I interrupting the environment? What happens to me? Everybody will keep me separately, they won't include me again. Those are the thoughts, where it comes as a challenge for employees. And I think when you have different sessions and workshops, to educate on these lines, I believe they feel confident, much confident. And this is where the role of HR is, where we arrange these workshops, we give them that confidence. We not just, create the policy and put them in the internet for everybody to just to go through, but fostering these cultures, right, it is very difficult. And I definitely have felt it, because in this new setup, right, where I feel it is really difficult to enforce these, uh, and it is to be actively, involved, it takes a lot of time. And we have a very great partner, who gives us guidance always. And Securus has been always, with us in terms of guiding us. The external member who comes to us have given us scenario based questions, and we are really able to go and tell them these scenario based questions to them and ask them, what, these are some scenarios I give you, can you identify? These also constitute harassment. And there are various visual based trainings which helps us in understanding different types of harassments. So these challenges, all are addressed there itself with these awareness which we create, the education that we provide. And I personally believe, I truly personally believe these values of respect and, safety should be ingrained much earlier, where at home, schools, colleges, so that by the time they come to the organization, an individual enters the workforce, right, these principles should be second nature to them, is personal belief of mine as such.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. So the challenges are definitely going to continue, but as HR, how are we going to stay on top? Is and it's going to be an ongoing task, especially now with changing generations, the gaps that are increasing, the mindsets are changing, the culture is changing, and technology advancement. I think with the latest technology changes, we are receiving different kinds of issues, and people play around with the technology in causing harassment, like the deep fakes or thing. I think we also have to be updated on that.
Absolutely.
So challenges definitely are there, but I think as HR, we have to stay on top of it, and it's going to be an ongoing process. Wonderful. So at Celestica, this is a specific question for the best practices at Celestica, being a multinational company. At Celestica, how have you been managing with best practices? What are the things that has worked? And people are there from across different cultures, different generations. What are some of the best practices that you like to share, which are going to be helpful
Yeah.
for everyone?
Yeah. Thanks, Vijay. And that's a very interesting one, because see, it's part of, our compliance. Apart from the compliance, where way beyond that I look, There is obviously the policy put in place. There is a e-learning which we put in place, a workshop. No matter all of these, right? There are some things which we really want to do, different. But at the same time, I believe this is what something which brings us all closer. See, what happens is, our culture is more of an open door policy where, there are various site events which we conduct every quarter, or at least 2 months once. We have some site activities which we do, where both on site as well as remote folks, irrespective of who the employees are, all of them, they come together, right? So there are certain activities which we do, simple activities. It could be the team bonding, team building, or some games that we do. These are some things which bring people closer together, and it fosters a lot of respect, where everybody understands each other and tries to respect each other, and they know. And in these forums, right, we take opportunity to at least talk about 5 to 10 minutes, and give them some debatable topics to discuss on how we perceive safety and respect within the culture, right? See, culture is everything. At Celestica, I definitely have ensured that our folks are coming together, and the culture that they have, right, they are respectful. Irrespective of all these things, our leadership, it's from the top down approach, right? We do have regular town halls and meetings which happens. So in that, right, leadership team emphasizes on certain zero tolerance stance on sexual harassment, and how active, and the way they actively participate and speak is something really good, because I see they always want us to stay vigilant, and continuously also look at where we can improve our policy process and all of that. So as much as we have certain best practices, I always tend to learn different from other industries also, how best are they doing it, and I try to bring in that, and ensuring that we have such powerful examples from different cultures, from everyone, right? And also they share their stories. These are some things which binds us closer and creates a environment where it's a respectful environment, and they feel that okay, this is how the environment is. So it's more or less like we treat everyone in the family with respect, right? We don't tend to take advantage of the other, right? So that's how we want to build the culture. At the same time, there are rules and regulations to be followed, and potential consequences, right? So to prevent these situations, obviously, we cannot just ensure that there is obviously a culture of fostering together, but then there are certain rules and regulations for everyone to follow, and and there are additional consequences as such. Um, but yes, these are some things which has prevented us the ongoing education, and these kind of site activities, events, and safety protocols which we have brought in. And also, if you look at it, the technology based organization, right, we have all the aspects of safety ingrained everywhere in the organization, right, from the reception till every nook and corner, right? So these are some things which has reinforced the values, and I would say so far it's going really well. People look at it, and as one the feedback comes to us, and how they perceive and how they feel safe is something which feels that things are going good. And obviously that doesn't set me in a compliance complaisance, but I would definitely look at where I can improve, and bring in furthermore best practices as such.
Wonderful, wonderful. More power to you and to Celestica for setting the benchmark in the industry.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
moving on to the rapid fire round, I think I'm excited about this. Quick, one word answers what I'm expecting on this. Okay, so one word that describes effective leadership in preventing harassment.
Integrity.
Most critical quality for an HR professional dealing with harassment cases.
um HR, I would say empathy. I would say multiple proactive, but empathy comes to me first.
Top priority prevention or redressal.
Definitely prevention.
Policy or culture, which is more powerful in preventing harassment.
100% culture, which we are living in India. Yeah.
Most effective training format, e-learning or in person?
I would say in person because that puts, you know, you know, name to the face. But then e-learning has also been effective. Yeah.
Anonymous reporting, yes or no?
Yes.
Is zero tolerance achievable, yes or no?
Yes.
Preferred method to raise awareness, workshops or campaigns?
Workshops.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Arsha, for sharing your insights and experiences with us. It has been an enlightening conversation, and I'm sure our listeners have gained a lot of value and information. I think 30 minutes is just not enough. Probably I should look at increasing this to 45 minutes or 1 hour. I think we have so much to talk about, but definitely thank you. Thank you for taking the time off from your busy schedule to be part of our show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vijay, for having me. My key thing is this particular topic we can speak endlessly because it goes on and on and on. End of the day, prevention is the key. HR has to be proactive at the same time empathy because I was a little confused with choosing the two things, but both are really important. See, none of us want to go through the painful process of being accused and reprimanded and all of that, but it's our duty as a person to educate everyone and ensuring there is a rule, there is a consequences. And this is this specific topic is the topic which is hot in market right now, which is being most discussed everywhere and debated everywhere. And I look forward to trends where each and every organization puts more focus, there's emphasis on culture, the safety, and everything. And this podcast has been really great for me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I think we will connect maybe in a different scenario, different time to have an extended discussion. Thank you so much, Vijay.
Definitely, definitely, Arsha. Thank you so much to all our listeners. Thank you for tuning in today's episodes of the Safe Space podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to our podcast and share it with your network. And if you are interested to be our guest or if you would like to share a topic that you would like to listen to, please do write to me, vijay@securus.com. Until next time, stay committed to creating inclusive and safe workplaces. Thank you.
Thank you.